Hi, and welcome to this section of the tutor where we're going to learn how to subtract 3 and 4-digit numbers. And the good news is the rules are exactly the same as what we learned in the last section on how to subtract 1 and 2-digit numbers. So let's go ahead and do a few problems here. If you have 317 minus 27. Now if you had a problem where you were subtracting 317 taking 317 subtracting 27, where you had a 3-digit number minus a 2-digit number, the first thing you would do would be proceed in the same way that we had started all the other problems, and that would be to go ahead and write the big number on the top, the 317, the 3-digit number on the top, and let's go ahead and write the 2-digit number on the bottom, and go ahead and put our subtraction symbol. And that would really be the first thing that we do. Okay, that's sort of the first thing we're always going to do for these problems. And then, just like before, we're going to start in the right-hand column, and we're going to do some subtraction. So there's really no difference here. The only difference is the numbers are a little bit bigger. But if you were going to start in this column, you would say 7 minus 7, and 7 take away 7, you should just remember is 0 because you're subtracting everything away, so there's nothing left. Okay? The next thing we need to do is look at the next column here, and here we have a 1 minus 2, but this is the same problem that we had before. We have a smaller number trying to subtract a larger number from it, so you can't do that. You can't take 1 and then subtract 2 from it. At least you don't know how to do that yet. So what we're going to do is borrow. We're going to borrow from the bank here. We're going to borrow from the 3, and we're going to make him a 2. So we're going to take 1 away from the 3, and the 1 that we take away, we're going to put it right here in front of this number that we're trying to make bigger. We're going to make him an 11. So that 1 that we put in front, we're just going to make him an 11. Okay? Now we can do this. 11 minus 2, starting with 11, 10, 9, subtracting 2 from it, we're going to be left with 9. Okay? So we're going to put a 9 right there. Okay? So 11 minus 2 is 9, and that's going to be that part there. And then the only thing left to do is we have this 2 here, subtracting 0 because there's nothing there, so we're going to have a 2. So the answer is going to be 290. Okay? So it's the same thing as before. We start on the right and we move left. Okay? Looking at a different problem, if we had 410 minus 34, okay? Let's go ahead and work that out and see what we would have. Let's write the bigger number on the top, 410, and we'll write the smaller number on the bottom. And we'll put a little minus sign because we're going to do some subtraction here, okay? Now again, the first thing we notice if we're going to work in the right column moving left, we have a 0 minus a 4. Well, 0 is smaller, so we're not going to be able to do that subtraction right away. We're going to have to borrow. We're going to have to make this number bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow from this column. So we're going to strike him out, and since I don't have too much room, I'm just going to kind of put a 0 up here to remind me that that's a 0 now, okay? And I've borrowed 1, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 here, and that's going to tell me that this is a 10 in this column over here. So I've taken 1 away from this column and I've put it in this column. Okay, so now I have 10, 1, 0, 10, minus 4. And if you look at that and you do that on your fingers, 10 minus 4, starting with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I subtracted 4, so what I'm going to be left with is 6. And 6 goes right here, underneath that column. 10 minus 4 is 6. So we're done with that column after we've done the borrowing. Now let's move to this column.